Okay, I just want to preempt this short podcast by saying this, and it's an add-in. If Laurie and Chad had gotten away with everything, in a few years' time, she would have gotten bored of him and she would be lining up her next target, I guarantee you. It makes me laugh because a lot of people, including her mother and her sister, who are, they still believe, oh, Laurie's so sweet. Oh, Chad, big bad bear, who took her under his wing and manipulated her. I don't believe that at all. I believe that Laurie Vallow is the manipulator and she's the instigator and she's the mastermind. That's my personal opinion. I think it's the other way around. I'm not saying that Chad is an angel, but by no means is he. But I think that Laurie Vallow is the one that was pulling the strings. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, despite the heat wave that we've been experiencing and how much I want to rant about it, I'm going to talk about Nate Eaton. He recently did an interview with the infamous Laurie Vallow Daybell. Now, I started my channel on the Watts case and the Laurie Vallow Daybell case, but most of my Laurie Vallow audience, left because I went on to other things, and KJ in the Ray basically took up that audience, and she was very, very good at the Laurie Vallow Daybell thing, and she's real, she's authentic. Love you, KJ. Did a great job. And I've been visiting Nate Eaton's channel, or I've been watching Nate's coverage of the Laurie Vallow case for 3 years, basically since it started. And I've always felt that he's kind of thought that it was like his case. And it just seems he's completely obsessed with Laurie Vallow. There's so many other cases that he could cover. And I'm not saying he doesn't cover other things, but he rarely deviates from Laurie Vallow Daybell. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And, I do like Nate. I want to make that clear that I do like Nate Eaton. His coverage has been very, very good. He's made a name for himself with this case. I have nothing against Nate at all. He's done very, very well with this case. So I just want to make that clear. After Nate's interview with Laurie Vallow Daybell, he did a series of other interviews talking about the interview that he did with Laurie Vallow Daybell. He went on The Lawyer You Know or We Know, and he even did an interview with Laurie Vallow Daybell's son. The Laurie Vallow Daybell case has been very productive for Nate Eaton. He's made a name of it. And I think it's certainly the biggest case that he's ever covered. And in terms of giving him notoriety, it has certainly done that. But it does seem a little bit stalkerish with her. He just seems completely obsessed. But I understand. I understand that it was a big case, and a lot of people were interested in it. It's a very unique case as well. And I understand, Laurie Vallow was a very attractive woman who seemed normal, seemed like a good mother, and she changed. Or true colours over the years began to show more. Who knows if she really actually changed. Laurie Vallow's family are all over YouTube. You've got her uncle, her brother, her son, doing podcasts and sounding off on her and reviewing her and talking about her and discussing the case. It's ubiquitous. It's like they're everywhere, apart from her mother and her sister Summer. They show up once in a blue moon, and as if you recall, Summer and Laurie Vallow Daybell's mother, Janice, who I think both of them are still in denial about Laurie Vallow, in terms of, I think Laurie Vallow is delusional, but I think that there's more to it than that. And it's interesting because Nate was saying that he actually believes that Laurie Vallow believes all this religious stuff that she talks about. And I completely differ with him on that. I believe that Laurie Vallow uses religion to manipulate other people. I think she's a spiritual narcissist, and I think that religion is solely used so she can manipulate people, elevate herself over the others, preach to others, And I think it's like a narcissistic tool to use as a power and authority over other people, to try and prove that she's either better than them, or she knows more than them, or that she's some superior in some way, or that she has inside knowledge that no one else has. I think that I think she uses religion to manipulate people. I think she knows exactly what she did. And the story that she tells about Tylee and JJ, I think she knows that's all a fabrication. But I saw this quote the other day and I completely agree with it. The one thing I do like about psychopaths, which I believe she is that they actually are so full of themselves and so narcissistic that they think other people are stupid. So they don't realize that other people see through their little games. And I think that's what Lori Vallow does. I think she plays a game. Don't believe she believes any of the stuff that she says. I think she knows exactly what she did, and she knows exactly that she's involved. And I think she just uses religion as a manipulative tool. So maybe she was able to manipulate Nate into believing that she actually believes all that religious nonsense and jargon that she spews. But I don't believe it at all. What else do I have to say? It was a good interview that Nate did, but it's the same. Lori Vallow's been giving the same song and dance since she did her first interview. I mean, she's never going to be honest. She's never going to tell the truth. And she's going to always view other people as stupid. And she's always going to believe that she can pull the wool over other people's eyes, like she did with her mother and sister, who I think are still delusional. I think they don't realize or want to believe that, there's more than just delusion to Lori Vallow. The fact of the matter is she's not a nice person. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she's a very self-serving person. Everything that she did is self-serving. But she still thinks people are stupid enough to believe that it was all, she had no involvement in all of these things, just happened coincidentally. She's actually delusional enough to believe. And I think that's where her delusion lies, the fact that she thinks she can fool and manipulate people. But I don't believe for 1 second that she's completely delusional. There's a manipulative side to her behavior because, when she was calling the life insurance place, not long after what happened to her husband, she wasn't delusional then when she was trying to get the life insurance payout, was she? She wasn't delusional when she was using Tylee's credit cards. Do you know what I mean? So she knows exactly what she's doing, and I think she was able to manipulate her family, much of her family, particularly her mother and her sister. So I think she's just going to continue on that path because, there's psychopathy and sociopathy involved with her. So I think she's probably was able to manipulate Nate into believing she believes all this religious stuff. But, I think she's very articulate and she's very charming, and that is one of the key aspects of psychopathy. But, I don't believe that she believes all that religious stuff at all. She knows exactly what she did. So I'm going to end this podcast with telling you what I think of, very quickly, because I don't want to spend any more time on this, what I think of the Diddy verdict. I originally thought that there was no way back for him and that he was going away for a long time. But after I did my personality analysis video on Diddy, I started to think that maybe he could get off this like he has done so many times. So my opinion has changed over time. And there's other things that have influenced my opinion, my opinion change. So I'm not at all surprised at the verdict. He's a very powerful man. Money talks. And there are other things I think as well, like the prosecution should have done that they didn't do, and statute running out and all kinds of things. And obviously the jury saw things that we didn't see. They saw those tapes. And if you see those tapes, your mind might be changed. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of things that go into cases such as this. And a single piece of footage can really sway things. And we didn't see the footage that they saw. We only saw some of it. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Disappointed, but not surprised.